Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Prab Pirom. I'm the president of the Bangkok Net Impact Professional Chapter, and thank you so much for coming today. I'm very honored to have today with us Khun Wirote Lackanaadisorn from C Public Company Limited. C is a very well-established publishing house in Thailand for a number of years, and today Khun Wirote will be sharing with us how at CED they embed CSR in the corporate DNA of their workforce. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Khun Wirote.
Thank you for inviting me to join this session. I think most of you will know CED as the bookstore, right? But in we already do a lot of business. For example, publisher, book distributor, and bookstore. And the last one we did is educational business. That is CED Learning Center. It is the primary school that teach mathematics and English for the primary students. Okay. And now I take care of two positions in CED. The first one is the Director of Human Resources, right? That is a cost center. Okay. And another is CED Learning Center, right? This is the new business. So that means, in my opinion, I think I know the constraint and the needs of both cost center and profit center toward the CSR perspective. Okay, for the cost center, okay, we have to service the business unit, right? And you try to reduce your cost, your expense in doing the activities to support the business unit. And also, when you talk about profit center, the duties of profit center is very easy. That is finding the revenue for the company, right? And the needs and constraints in doing CSR are different in both perspective of cost center and perspective of profit center. Okay. Today, I think I would not like to share about the definition of CSR. I think all of you will know the definition of CSR already, right? But I would like to share the concept and the style of our company to do CSR. Because CSR come from the small company, and right now we are just medium enterprise, not the big one. Okay. If you notice the CSR trend in Thailand, you always notice that there are only big companies do the CSR project continuously. But right now we cannot see much about the small business or small enterprise do the CSR. Okay, some small business or some small enterprise will do some charitable events or philanthropy activity for some time. But in the long term, no one can do the CSR project continuously. Okay. Today I will share how CED can do the CSR continuously. Okay, first of all, when we talk about the CSR, I think the most of people will think about the society, the environment. But in my point of view, in CED's point of view, I think it's too far. It's too far. Some organizations, some companies neglect the inside company, neglect the CSR inside the company, neglect the employee's feeling, neglect the employee's satisfaction. That is the problem, right? So before you do the CSR, you have to remind yourself that there are a lot of stakeholders in doing CSR, right? And each stakeholder has the different priority, right? Okay. In my point of view, the society environment, I think it's not the first priority in doing CSR. The employee, the customer, should be regarded as the one or two, the first or second priority in doing CSR instead, right? The priority of doing CSR means the influence of that stakeholder in your business in your competition, in your survival in the market, right? And okay, somebody asked me why the big company always do the CSR for the society, for the community, because the market target, okay, you have to mention about market target first, right? For small business, the target market is very, very narrow, right? But okay, for CS right now, when you mention about our market target, it can be considered the society, right? Because right now we have a lot of distribution channel in every department store, in every discount store in Thailand. We can claim that the society and all people who live in Thailand are our market target, right? When the market target is expanded, the society will be regarded as the first priority of your CSR project. That means the priorities of CSR stakeholder is dynamic, right? It can be changed over time. It can be changed over time. That means you have to review yourself, review about the priorities of your stakeholder. Sometimes, okay, when your business grow up, the society play more role on your business. That means you have, right at that time, you have to allocate some time, some budget, some resource to do the CSR by focusing on that stakeholder. Anyway, I insist that CSR is not only philanthropy or charity. Okay, if it is regarded as charity, the charity should begin at home.
Right.
I used to ask my employee when I do the CSR for the society or for community. I ever ask my company how they feel. They often feel that why my company never do the CSR for them or for their family in the state. But if you do not ask them, you never answer you, right? But they think, they feel, that's the problem. And if you would like to persuade them to join or participate in the CSR event or project, you have to care their feeling, right? And you have to create the give and take mechanism in CSR concept of your company first. That means your employee have to feel beneficial by being given and giving. And if your employee never get any benefit from CSR, how you can persuade them to join CSR? I think it's so difficult, right? Give and take is the keyword of our concept of CSR. For example, this is a simple chart, simple diagram, okay? First of all, okay, the basic CSR is that taking care of your employee, right? And if you have the budget enough, you can expand the welfare to take care of their family. And let them know this is the one of CSR activities. The welfare for employee is the one of CSR that the company have to do. Okay, and let them feel it's the benefit of CSR, right? Okay, and then the next step, okay, you can go to further step to do the CSR for communities, to supplier, to business partner, to customer, and also to your competitor. And at that point, you can do the network. You can build up the network with your competitors, with your supplier, to do the big project of CSR for the society. Right? Networking is very, very important in doing CSR, because you cannot do CSR by yourself in the society, right? Okay, in the first step, okay, you have to start with yourself, but in the future, in the short future, you have to persuade others to join. That's basic, right? But anyway, you have to start with your employee first. And I still insist that if you would like to embed the CSR mind to their DNA, right? You have to let them know and feel and touch the benefit from CSR before. This is very important. No gain, no share. And anyway, when you can map the networking, to map the network and do the CSR for the society, if you notice that the policy of the government will have the tax reduction for some CSR project, for some donation, right? That means it is also the give and take mechanism. Because when you do the CSR, you can get the tax shield, you can get the tax reduction from the government. It is the give and take. That means in perspective of organization, the organization have to gain the benefit from CSR. Everybody, every stakeholder in company have to gain the benefit from CSR. And if you can build up that situation, you can sustain the CSR in your company, and you can embed the CSR mind to every element in your organization. Okay, give and take is the keyword, right? And also, okay, organization shareholder. I think most of people will think that, oh, shareholders are the rich people, right? And they should not gain anything from CSR. I think it's not true. It's not correct. Even shareholders should gain the benefit from CSR. The profit, right? That means if you can do the CSR project as a strategy to gain more profit, to gain more revenue for the company, the shareholder will feel satisfied in CSR project. If you do only charity, if you do only donation, to ask for the budget to donate for this party, to that party, I think shareholder will not be satisfied to raise the expense for that activities. Okay, for some time it's good, okay, but for many times the shareholder cannot support, right? Because shareholder have to take care the health of the company, right? Employee also have to gain benefit from CSR. Everybody has to gain the benefit from CSR. Okay, this is the concept of CSR, right? I think the benefits from being given and giving have to be used in doing CSR. Okay, when you feel satisfied, you feel happy when you are given, right? After that, I can persuade you to join, to share, to give something to others. Just others, not. I don't talk about the society much when we doing CSR in my company. I always talk that just give something to others, give something to other stakeholders, just stakeholders, right? Because when you talk about society, I think it's too far. I'm still poor. Why I have to give something to the society? I need some help from society. I'm not ready to give something to society. Okay, when you talk about society, I think it's too far, too big for employee. In CSR, we never talk about society. We talk about other stakeholders. For example, customers, children in some region. Okay, I don't want to talk about society because society is too big, right? Okay. Anyway, when you would like to do the win-win CSR, okay, the well-balanced CSR, right? You have to balance between benefit you can gain from CSR with the burden of your company, right? I think your left-hand side is the burden of your company in doing CSR. Okay, you have sunk costs, right? You have connection, right? You have desktop and slow moving, right? In my company, we have a lot of old books and slow moving books, and the book that the content inside is still okay, but the book cover is quite old, or there are some damage in the book cover, and the customer do not want to buy this kind of book, but the content inside is still functional, right? It's still okay. In the previous time, we treat this kind of books as a junk. We sell them out by kilogram, and when we sell them out by kilogram, it's just paper, right? It's just junk paper, right? Even though inside, the content inside is still okay. A lot of children can use it, right? In the library. And there are some ajahn, there are some lecturer in university. Talk this to me, talk this to my boss. Hey, see it. Why you do not donate this kind of book to the library instead of selling them out? This is the concept. This is the first concept of my CSR in CA. Desktop and slow moving, fully depreciated asset. For example, bookshelf is still okay, but it's too old to locate in the store. Sometimes the department store force us to change the new one, to change the new bookshelf. And how we can manage the old one? Conventionally, we sell them out by kilogram as well. But at this time, we can donate the bookshelf that are functional to the library. For example, to the poor school, for example, right? This is a thing that if you do not have CSR, you have to take care of it. But anyway, you can use the CSR project to take care of this one. And when you donate the book, right, to donate the book to the library, you can gain the tax reduction from the government. But you have to make sure that the book you donate to the school, you donate to the library, is still functional, is still okay, and the content inside is appropriate to the student. If you can make sure that, you can donate, right? Because in the library, the staff in the library have to change the book cover to be the thick cover instead, right? So the old cover is not important. The damaged book cover is not important anymore. Okay, anyway, come to right hand side. The benefit that the company can gain, the tax shield, right? The tax reduction, market information. How you can gain the market information? For example, we have the project to create some book, some learning media, and we would like to do the market testing.
I have a question because I raised the question because we have a class to go and I would like to hear your point of view. In America, there's a law called that forces the bank to invest in society. Community Investment Act. That means you go back to society. The board of directors, the companies, say, whatever you do, you know, you have a slide, very nice slide that says people, community, employees, and all the rest of it. They say, if I help the employees, how much benefit the company gets? Because using employees is costly. You have to recruit, you have to get them back, so that's costly. So that's one way. Then they say, if I help the customers, another benefit. They are looking, you know, it appears on the surface that they are helping community, but actually they are helping themselves. So all of these help for community, employees, customers, all have to be translated to some sort of cash flow for them to participate. Otherwise, they see it as a cost center. they don't, unless they are forced by law. Like Community Reinvestment Act is a law. The country, the banks have to go and participate, otherwise they don't get it. So individuals, of course, they do, as you mentioned, they donate their books, donate their shirt, but corporation, they look at the cash inflow and cash outflows, benefits for themselves first, and then in the meantime, some side effects that benefit the society. So I just want to bring that to your attention that it is not just goodwill of the employees, goodwill of the managers, even the goodwill of the corporation. I mean, the board of directors is influential in final decision. It is I'm a finance professor, so I have to think finance, and I really see that. You always see give and take that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is how much money comes in if I keep my employees? How much money comes in if customers are happy? How much would I get if the parkings are available? So it seems that you are helping the employees, customers, trees, parks, and all that, but actually, at the end, it is benefit. It's profit and losses. So we have to come up with.
So, something I would add, though, Professor Hamid, CSR is one thing, but the other term is used, corporate accountability. Because CSR is essentially voluntary. You do it. And that's unfair. If somebody does it, somebody else doesn't. Society, when they want things, make it accountable with penalties for non-compliance. What you were just saying, perhaps, why not just build it into corporate taxes, and the benefit that comes from community investment, governments would do that based on tax credits.
That's right.
Rather than leaving it up to this kind of implicit tax of the program you mentioned.
But in my point of view, I think it's the first step of CSR. I think in Thailand, I think the CSR concept in Thailand is still not developed enough, right? And we do not have the law, the law that force the company to do the CSR, right? But anyway, when you would like to persuade everybody in the organization to join or participate in CSR project, I think the first step that you should talk about is the benefit. I mean, when we talk about benefit, it means both direct benefit and indirect benefit. Okay, indirect benefit, okay, it's goodwill, satisfaction, and feel good to share something to others. Okay, that is the thing my employee gain finally, right? But anyway, if you would like to do some tactic to persuade them to join the CSR, sometimes you have to put some decoy, right? Yeah, to some decoy to persuade them to join, to persuade them to participate. I think it's the first step. But in the second step, if somebody join the CSR project, they will not talk about the direct benefit anymore because they feel good to share something to others. And they do not mention about the direct benefit they should gain anymore. But the first step, I would like to talk to my employees that CSR is everything. Your welfare is the one of CSR project of my company. Okay, the donation and the community cooperation. When we donate, I would like to say that when we donate the book to the library, we always talk to the teacher, we always talk to the principal to do some activity altogether. For example, okay, I donate the book, I donate the bookshelf, but you have to PR and persuade the parents and students to join activities, to install the bookshelf altogether, to clean the library. At this time, I would like all of you to know that there are a lot of students, there are a lot of schools that do not have the library inside. And the library is very necessary, right? Some school has the library but no books. There are only very old book, some old book only. This is the first step of our CSR project. This is only first step. The first step is very difficult, but the second step is less difficult.
It's interesting on that, because the next step, library, no books, there's going to be no library. The library is called Google. And that's what's happening where I teach in the States. You go to the library, nobody's ever there. At some point, firms like your own are going to be totally digital, which would be good for sustainability.
For Google, okay, I think so.
Yeah.
But I would like to mention about the past. We did the CSR. We start from the book, right? But right now, we try to donate some e-content to the school as well. For example, a lot of school has the interactive board, right? But they are not e-content to use. And okay, what occurs next? The teacher will use the interactive board like the whiteboard because the school doesn't have the e-content to use in the interactive board. That's the problem, right? I think all parties in Thailand always donate the hardware to the school, but they never care about the infrastructure and e-content and software. In Thailand, when you talk about the software, I think the price of software is quite low because when we talk about software, I think every people will think about the free content, right? But actually, the software is very costly sometimes. And okay, normally, the organization, the company always donate the infrastructure, donate the hardware to the school. Sometimes it's not useful. It's not useful enough for the school. But anyway, if our community check, the electricity capacity is not enough, I think it's not useful to donate the computer to the school, right? Because we have the constraint with the capacity of electricity. And that's why we decided to donate book instead. And when you talk about Google, when you talk about software in the rural school, the teacher is not competent enough to use the computer. Even Microsoft Word.
You don't have to limit it to rural schools. We find the same thing in urban areas.
Yes, that whatever I try to communicate. But okay, I think anyone can share, right? Okay. Anyway, in our concept, in doing CSR, okay, the CSR of CS derive from the problem, especially social problem. For example, right now, when you talk about the problem in the society, I think finally you will find out that the root cause of the problem is knowledge, right? It's the knowledge of the people, right? So we shape ourselves from book center or bookstore to knowledge provider. If you notice the word in the annual report, you will notice that we change ourselves from bookstore or book business doer into knowledge provider right now. That means, okay, when we bring the problem of society, when we bring the problem of employees, when we bring the organization problem, to be the patient to do the CSR project, I think it's very useful because when you do the CSR project, okay, you can gain revenue, and you also also build up the benefit to the society as well. That is our concept, right? CSR can do like a business. Right? For example, For example, right now, I think we have heard that the Thai children have the problem in literacy. Some children cannot read, even they are in grade 6, right? So, when we know this kind of problem, we create the project to do the outside reading project. That means how to say, outside graded leaders to sell out, to sell into the market. And we donate some for the poor school, okay, to test the market. If you would like to gain some information from the market, you can use some school, especially some poor school, to be the sample, right? And to do the test and gain some information back and improve the product to sell in the market. This is a kind of CSR of CSR as well. Okay. And anyway, when we talk about CSR, the basic of CSR is that regulation. You have to respect, right? You have to respect the ethics. You cannot compromise yourself with transparency. The transparency is necessary for doing CSR. If you cannot follow the transparency policy, you never respect the law. Okay? You never respect the ethics. You cannot do the next step of CSR. Right? If you donate a lot of things to the society, but you never respect the law, I think it's not useful, right? It's not the real CSR. The idea that we always think about our CSR concept is how to generate CSR impact with limited budget. Yeah. How to use organization strength and network to do CSR. And we always focus on CSR in process. We always focus on the CSR inside company before external CSR. Okay. For example, okay, when you talk about the product or goods that you prepare to sell in the market, right? For CF, okay, the goods can be categorized into two types. The first one is merit goods. Okay, in the economic perspective, merit goods, that means the consumption of the customer can produce the positive effect to the society, right? Okay, and demerit goods is the opposite. The consumption of the customer produce the negative effect to the society. For CF, the book or any content or any knowledge is the merit goods, right? When you consume the content inside the book, you can talk that to others, to share the knowledge to others. Right? You can share. You can tell others about the meaningful content inside and can produce the positive effect to the society. That means the root of the business of CF is CSR. And we try our best to create the money goods to sell in the market only. That means the product, even the product, can be CSR. Okay, anyway, if you cannot avoid, if you produce the demerit goods, if you produce the demerit goods, for example, alcohol, beer, or some cigarette, right? Okay, and you cannot avoid. Okay. Anyway, you can do the abatement control. For example, you are the factory, right? I think you cannot avoid to emit the pollution to the air, right? But you can do the abatement process to reduce the effect of that kind of pollution. Mm-hmm. For the process of business or process of business, okay. First of all, you have to respect the regulation. You have to be the ethical company, right? And okay, if you can do that, the next step, you can do the thing for the society. You can do the collaboration with the society, right? And anyway, you can do the policy that environmental friendly. First, the thing that I would like to focus is that the CSR should focus on inside before outside. But anyway, both inside and outside have to be done simultaneously, have to be done at the same time. But the priority will change over time. At the first step, okay, you will take care of yourself first. And you are wealthy enough, you can share and you can allocate the priorities and do the next step of CSR. Okay, for the idea of CSR in my community, okay, the day stock, slow moving stock, no market value, but full functional value, asset. You have to ask yourself, can you use this kind of thing to do CSR? And the human resource, how you can persuade them to join and engage the CSR, right? And how can you manage the full depreciated asset, for example, bookshelf? And how you can use your connection to make the network to do the big project of CSR? And how you can build up the CSR impact with limited budget. If you spend a lot of budget, shareholder will feel dissatisfied for sure, right? And when you do the CSR, the direct benefit you can gain is employee engagement, right? Productivity improvement, non-value asset administration, and tax shield. Anyway, tax shield is the thing that the company can gain. And you can persuade shareholders to participate and support the CSR project. Because you can say that, you can say the reason of CSR to the board, to the shareholder that at least you can gain the tax reduction from CSR, to persuade them to support at the first step. If you say only expense in doing CSR, the board of directors never satisfied to hear that, right? Okay, and indirect benefit, the brand awareness, community engagement. Okay, you can gain for sure, but in the long term. The hazardous CSR or dangerous CSR, you have only cash flow out, the cash outflow for CSR project. But you cannot talk about the benefit you can gain from CSR, right? It is very dangerous because you cannot persuade others to join the CSR. They are only indirect benefits. They are only brand awareness. For example, when you present the CSR project to the board of directors, and you say that, okay, this CSR project, we spent a lot, and we gain the brand awareness. But the board director don't like to gain only brand awareness. They always focus on, how to say, the bottom line of your company, right? Always focus on the profit, right? If you say only brand awareness, I think it's not important enough to persuade the board director to support the CSR project. And no linkage between CSR and organization objective or mission. For example, in perspective of CF never hold the golf event or charity event to donate something to the school. We never hold the event like a bowling or golf. We never do that. And cannot identify CSR benefit tangibly. There are only intangible benefits or long-term benefit. Okay, that means in our concept, I think we believe parents CSR. We believe in CSR. And if you would like to have win-win CSR or balance CSR, we have to balance these things, right? The first one is profit mind and business productivity. The duty of company is business, right? But anyway, the business or organization is the one element in the society. So the organization have to have the profit mind to the society, right? It's unavoidable. Number two, the corporate benefit and social benefit. Number three, direct benefit and indirect benefit. You can gain some that tangible, and okay, you can gain the brand awareness from CSR. Right? But if you gain only indirect benefit, how you can persuade other party to join the CSR? Appropriate priorities of stakeholders. And number five, CSR in process and external CSR. I always insist that the charity begins at home. Number six, employees benefit and communities benefit. Employee always ask, why you do not donate for me? Why you do not donate for my family? They always ask, but they never told you. They never tell you. And number seven, regulatory compliance and transparency and voluntary activities. First of all, you have to respect the regulation first and transparent first. When you go to the next step of CSR, if you are not transparent enough and you just donate, you just do the charity, I think it's not the correct CSR. But anyway, I often talk about the indirect benefit and direct benefit, long-term benefit and short-term benefit, intangible benefit and tangible benefit, right? I would like to raise some metaphor. For example, okay, your relative unconscious and convulsed. Okay, you bring him or her to the hospital. Right? If I am doctor, right? I do some treatment for him. Okay, and he's still unconscious and convulsed. Okay, how do? You ask the doctor, right? Why my relative still unconscious, right? And I say, okay, you have to wait for the long term. The treatment needs some time. Okay, 2 hours pass, 3 hours pass. He's still unconscious. The treatment may be correct, right? And I say, and I still say that, okay, you have to wait. But I never say that how long you have to wait, right? But your relative is still unconscious. Finally, you will decide to move your relative to other hospital. Right? Anyway, why I raise this metaphor? Anyway, if you bring your relative to my hospital, okay, I am a doctor, right? I have to do some treatment to get your relative conscious, right? Okay. After the treatment, okay, he is conscious, right? He's conscious. Okay. And I will say to you that, okay, I have to do this and that next. You will believe me, right? Because you can notice the short term, right? The short term effect. And you will give me an opportunity to do some treatment for the next step, right? That means if you cannot show the tangible benefit, the short-term benefit of CSR, I think it's quite difficult to persuade other people to join the CSR activities. I think it is the circumstance of Thailand, right?
I've been holding off my question, but I think maybe this is opening. because you talk about the benefits for all these different parties. So for CED specifically, what is the process that you go through to get your employees to understand the tangible benefits of supporting, participating, and also your supply chain partners? So I would like to know maybe a specific example of what is the process that CED goes through to do that.
I think we just often talk in every session. For example, the orientation and in every training time, we always talk about the benefit of CSR. We always talk about the culture that embedded with CSR, right? And if we have the meeting, for example, any meeting, even small meeting, we will let our manager, our leader, our group leader to talk about CSR, the concept of CSR of my company to them.
What do you show them? Talking is one thing, but
Okay, I think
what
you will-
evidence can you present to
Okay,
them?
I think you will notice the LCD TV in the bookstore, right? I think the customer will think that the LCD TV will use for the marketing purpose, right? But in the reality, it's the way to communicate to our employees. This is the first priority of LCD TV. And I think in every morning, I or my colleagues, we have the duty to talk to my employee, to talk to my staff in the bookstore. Even Chiang Mai can know, can follow the situation, can follow the training, can follow whatever I would like to talk to them. This is the concept, right? Anyway, we try to improve the infrastructure, especially communication infrastructure. For example, ADSL. That means we can phone to other bookstore with the fixed cost because we buy the ADSL service already, right? That means you do not concern how long you would like to talk to me, you can talk. How long I would like to talk to you, I can talk. It's not necessary for me to concern about the time to talk to you, even you are in Chiang Mai province, right? And I think the culture, you can generate or create the culture that CSR embedded in by often talking and often communicate to them. And for example, when my staff get compliment from customer, just compliment, just one compliment for the good service, right? I consider it is the CSR. I write the story and share through the email, through the LCD TV, right? It's not ordinary compliment, because if you are bookstore staff, okay, you are not only bookseller, you are also knowledge provider. Why the customer compliment on you? Because you try your best to let them know whatever they would like to know. You are knowledge provider. I think the responsibility in the job is very important. If you think only I am only bookstore, I am only bookstore employee, I think your responsibility is very, very small, right? But if you often talk to your staff that, hey, your duty is not bookseller, your duty is knowledge provider. You have to try your best to have your customer find the book they want to read.
So to push that further, I mean, if I'm the employee, okay, you're talking to me,
Yep.
but and so that I get compliment. But if I think of my own life in the long term, do you provide me professional development opportunities to improve my ability to climb the company, my own knowledge? Does CN have that type of CSR, of a professional development pathway for their employees, which is tangible benefit, because even if they leave CN, they have gained, they have increased skills, or that sort of thing.
Truthfully, I think actually we have the career path for every employee, right? But truthfully, in the retailing business, there are quite substantial turnover rate of employee.
Yeah.
It's around 60% right now. 60% right now turnover rate. I think so. I think it's quite difficult to do the career development. But anyway, right now, if you would like to be the manager, I mean branch manager, I think you can spend around 1 or 2 years, you can get that position. But it's too fast. When it's too fast, I think it's the constraint for us to do the training for them as well. This is our problem right now. But anyway, we have the plan. We have the career development plan for every employee for sure.
Like, I mean, I just think back when I was an employee at a family-run outdoor gear store when I was in college, you know, and only a family-run business selling skis and backpacks and shoes. Well, they took pride in us as the employees to actually be really good at what we did. So they sent us to training a lot, even though they knew the turnover is very high, okay? But also they gave us profit sharing. This was just a family business. Yeah, so they, in that track, they had like a track in the back, but they really gave us like knowledge training, like on biometrics. They had the rep come and we would go for a training. We would even travel sometimes. So yeah, so I felt like, wow, I had really loyalty to this business because they, you know, made me see how much they invested in me, knowing that I'm leaving in a year. They knew that, only because most employees, it's a college town, you know, but they really had a different mindset about, even though they knew turnover was there, but it created a loyalty to the employees, to this business. Yeah.
According to
And then the quality of the service to the
according to
customers.
the exit interview
Yeah.
I did, right? The reason that they leave the company is they would like to have the holiday. They would like to have the holiday on Sunday and Saturday like other people, because we are in the retailing business. Our staff in the bookstore cannot have the holiday on Sunday and Saturday like other people, like you and me, right? And this is the main reason that they decided to leave the company. It's not the salary, but they would like to have the lifestyle like other people. This is the main reason. Okay, after we noticed, we try to allocate the holiday, relocate holiday policy, and we allow them to have a holiday on Sunday or Saturday sometimes. But it's just sometimes. But they still need every week. And okay, when we talk about the retailing business right now, I think the turnover rate of the whole industry of retailing business is quite high if you compare with other industry or other business. Because the lifestyle of this kind of business is so different from other business. When you do the office work, you can have holiday like other people. If you do the retailing business, you cannot have the holiday on Sunday and Saturday. Even King's birthday, you cannot have. You cannot have the holiday at that day. some employees say that, hey, the Father's Day, I see the fathers bring their son or their daughter to go to the department store, but they cannot have this kind of opportunity. Okay, when I heard, okay, I feel unhappy, but right now we cannot find the way to solve this problem. This is the limitation of this business. Right.
But I see in many Thai businesses, many employees compared to the same business in another country, where they will reduce the number of employees. Because I see many Thai businesses, you have like at one time there's like a lot of employees standing around doing very little, and very little engagement with the customer. So I mean, just from what you say, I would think that maybe you provide fewer employees but give them higher training. And then you can actually create shifts where you can, instead of laying off the employees, you have more, holiday time. But the number of employees per shift is reduced, but the quality of their engagement with the customer is much better. Because I find that is a big weakness here in Thailand in general. Is the training is provided, whether it's a restaurant or it's power by or anywhere. There's a
Right now, we're doing some project to hire the part-time employee to replace the full-time employee. But if you know that the regulation of hiring the part-time, how to say, we do not have the regulation to hire hourly part-time employee right now in Thailand. We have only daily part-time employee. I think if company hire the student to work in the bookstore, right, for 3 hours or 4 hours, okay, I would like to say that is not lawful.
No, I guess I wasn't talking about that reduced type of time, but just like really just you could reduce your employees and have much more, I think.
For the training, I think so. For the training, I think so. And in CX, we prefer Kaizen. We prefer Kaizen instead of only training. For example, when you train them, right? When you train them, okay. I think sometimes in practice they cannot use what they train in practice. In CX, we always create a project-based training. For example, we would like to relocate the bookshelf. Okay, the project in every branches. Okay, we call for the training. We call the employee to join the training, and let them know, let them be trained how to relocate the bookshelf, and let them get back to the branch and do the project. And do some competition. And we provide some reward for them. This is the project that we always do. I think a lot of companies always talk about the soft skill training, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for me, for our company, soft skill training is necessary for white collar employee, right? But anyway, for blue collar, we prefer project-based training. That means if you would like to train them, you have to set up the project. You have to set up the contest or competition and give them some reward to compete each other.
But in a
That's the tactic.
In a bookstore, you have sections of books, right?
Yeah.
On different topics.
Yeah.
Do your bookstore staff have intimate knowledge about a particular section, like the health and well-being section, and receive training so that that particular staff, 2 or 3, really can help customers in that area, and for language or other topics, so that really, when a customer has this type of questions, you have 1 or 2 staff who've been trained or have a little bit more intimate knowledge to really, rather than a very general knowledge about moving shelves and that sort of thing. Like actually, they feel like, wow, I feel like a little bit of an expert on this, and that bring that their sense of who they are, you know, because they take care. Even though they work the whole floor, they have a little bit of a specialty within the bookstore, you know.
Running out of time, so I just
Yeah.
want to make
Oh,
sure.
sorry.
We have more slides, or?
The next slide is it's just picture, right? This is the help check-up activity that we allow the employees, family to join the activity with low cost.
So just for-
And this is the LCD TV. The most of people will think this is the marketing, is for marketing purpose, but actually is it used to communication purpose.
Could I just come in with one general question to follow up on his, and then maybe you can address it? I mean, his question, I thought, I think he probably was basing it also on some of the experience he mentioned earlier, with the ski shop, where we got very specific in-depth training on how the ski equipment works, and, maybe translating it to the bookstore. Does somebody actually know what this particular section of the bookstore, how that works? And I mean, there are many very specific elements to your whole presentation, which I found quite good, actually. Okay, but I know a little bit about CSR, and probably most of the people here do. If you're talking to maybe your board or some other stakeholders, you have to keep in mind the balance between long-term, short-term, tangible, intangible, etc. Right? I mean, those important elements. But the whole concept, right, as it matured in your own mind and in the minds of the others, in the company that you work with, over time, right? Because I assume you didn't start out with this concept of CSR and the strategies and the processes and all the elements that you described. Maybe 5 years ago, it was more rudimentary than now it is where it's at now. In 5 more years, it may be even more detailed, or maybe you do something specific like what he suggested, or a whole number of other things. So in terms of the process of implanting a CSR idea or concept, and then a strategy, and then a culture that would be characterized by all the different elements that you presented, right? How did you embed or develop and then embed that concept and culture, and how do you see it evolving further over time? What will it be like in 5 years? Thinking ahead. I mean, it's very hard to predict, and I think one element that comes across in terms of short-term and long-term and tangible and intangible. I mean, if you have a patient that is not coming out of the coma, and the hospital is saying, look, he will come out, and you don't believe it, well, you can give him a shot of epinephrine, he'll come out immediately and then die, 5 minutes later. So part of believing the doctor is having a trust and an understanding of how the process of treatment will work. And I think the same may be applicable in terms of tangible and intangible benefits. I mean, you may not be able to convince somebody that increasing the public image or the goodwill of the company is useful, and what they want to see is the bottom line next quarter. But in fact, you'll have many more better bottom lines out 5 years if you have a good image. So part of it is having a faith in the concept, I think, right? And how can one over time establish that faith in the concept and develop the concept further amongst the key stakeholders? It's a hard question, but I mean, how has it happened up to now? What was your own travel through this space?
I think the most difficult thing is to prepare the junior employee, right? To be ready to go up to the higher position with the CSR mind, right? And right now, okay, I admit that we are confronting the high turnover rate of employees, right? And that is the thing that challenging us. Right? And okay, for the training development plan, okay, I think I totally agree. I totally agree. But when we always confront this kind of problem, when we train them to be an expert in some kinds of in some field of book, right? They will move to other companies. This is the real problem that we are confronting. But anyways, right now we think about the new one. I mean the new experience one that we would like to acquire from other companies to join us to mix and match. Actually, we do not have the policy to acquire the experienced staff from other companies to join us. I think this is the old concept. But at this time, I think we try to relax this kind of policy. And we try to acquire somebody from other company to join us, to make something new in our company. Because I think a lot of people always mention that the book business in Thailand is in the sunset time. And okay, if here is talk about ourselves as the book, as the knowledge provider, we have to check and check ourselves, right? Okay, and to check ourselves efficiently, I think sometimes we cannot rely on our current employee only. We have to acquire somebody to help us. And that's why we try to relax the policy that I mentioned above.
I don't think we have another, or we don't have time for another question.
Anyway, I would like to show some picture, right? The meditation for life project, right? And the annual meeting. Okay, I think this picture can answer your question. To do the annual plan, okay. The first step, the executive will do the annual plan. But the next step, we will convince the other staff to join and analyze the annual plan that done from the executive, to let them join a little bit, to let them share some idea in annual plan. Okay, this is the activity is annual plan. There are some even, this is my board, my CEO, to share his vision to the employee. I think the hierarchy of my company is very, very short. You can email to my CEO directly. It's the tradition. Okay. It's the book for kids project I mentioned before, right? Okay. And it's the chain for kids. When you buy some book, okay, and you will have some chain, you can donate the chain to our project. That is the activity that convinces the customer to join our CSR project. And this is the Enjoy Reading project. Okay, we have the project to produce the outside reading book, right? This is a CSR Kitty Camp, okay.
Do you, like, for these programs,
Can we leave questions to afterwards? Because how is everybody on time? Because we have a 5-minute presentation. Are you still okay with time? Yeah. So before I introduce our 5-minute presenter, I'd like to.
Okay. That's all for today.
ค่ะโอเคขอบคุณมากเลยค่ะเดี๋ยวขอ in thanking Khun
Okay.
พี่แสง
All right. Sorry, yeah. My name's Dennis Walker. I've been in Thailand for about 12 years. Before that, in Indonesia for 12 years. Just so you have a little bit of background, I'm a management consultant. I worked in Thailand for a multinational as the country director. So, I'm coming from a business perspective in sharing this experience with you. Last month, I spent 2 weeks up in Majo in Chiang Mai area at a project called Panya Permaculture Design Certification course. That's not too far from, you might have heard, Pampan, Khun Wirote. Yeah. So it's about like 10-minute walking from that project, right? Now, permaculture, there's different definitions. The way I would characterize it is a whole system, integrated ecological community living. I couldn't think of a better, but it's really about living on the land, with other people, and understanding your role in the ecological process as a human being, as another species. So being involved in that, it really got me in touch with what it means to be part of that system. This is the schedule. This was the 2-week schedule, daily schedule. The columns here are each day. So there are a lot of discussions on natural building, alternative economics, gardening, types of gardening, forest gardens, ecological design, how to design actually your land, wherever it may be. There's a lot of attributes of your land that you need to take into consideration. So this is kind of the agenda that you go through. It's pretty rigorous. It's 8 hours a day. There's a lot of participatory exercises and a lot of lectures. And at the end of this process, the last 3 days you spend on actual projects, real projects. In this case, we had 25 people from all over the world, and 6 people had real projects that we worked on, and we developed a permaculture design strategy for each of those 6 projects. One was in Czechoslovakia, one was in Switzerland, one was in Australia, one was in California, one was here in Thailand, in northern Thailand, and then a couple of other ones, right? So you actually applied all of those skills to a project. This was the project in Prague, just outside in Czechoslovakia, just outside of Prague. And this was a girl, this woman here, Sybil. She had inherited a property which was an old communist-run wig factory, wig factory from her grandfather. And she wanted to take that property and design it in a way which was, very conscious of the environment, how to make this, place, an ecologically sensitive, way to live. So this was these were the drawings that came out of that. There's a lot of the details over there on the right you can see. That was one project. Huh?
Let's see you in action.
I'm coming. Okay. This is my project. This was in Ireland. There's a woman there whose parents are going to retire. So this is like a 22-acre project there. And this was because I'm an MBA. This was my part, the strategic, matrix here, the key performance measures and whatnot. So that was my part of that particular project. That was our design. There's the detail there. This was our group. The teacher is the guy with the long beard there. That was our first compost pile. It's important. Everybody knows compost. Probably a lot of people know how to make it, but doing it, actually, making it, I haven't done it, except in this particular course. But it makes you think a lot about the earth, and about the way things are right now. It makes you think about what we're doing, how we're behaving, I guess, as a species in this, in this Earth system, and it's not actually very good, if you look at it kind of generally. So, that is a big jump from a pile of compost, to that, but really that being involved, sticking your hands in the dirt, in the elephant poo, and making your pile, it makes you reflect on things like that, or me anyway. That was
And
what
where does the elephant contribution come from?
the elephant poo. I don't know actually where they got it. I think that you can go buy, truckloads of elephant
So it actually costs
Yeah.
something to build these.
Yeah.
It's not simple and cheap.
Well, it's pretty cheap, but you have to buy it. I don't know. I didn't ask them how, where they got that. They have bags of elephant dung, which are mixed in with the, with the composting material.
Does it have to be elephant?
No, it can be other. There are other things which can be used as well. So that was our first compost pile. That was our group of people there. Like I said, 25 people. This was mud brick making. We made mud bricks to build adobe houses. So we spent a half a day doing that, making playing in the mud, making the bricks and understanding how that worked. There's some of the people actually working on the building, and then that would be my head there with the handprint on it. So we had a lot of fun playing. That was just I think it's a good site just to illustrate that working together as a community doing things is really valuable, fun, connected experience. So that's very, very brief outlining of what my experience with permaculture. I would actually recommend it for everybody because it's a very it's a lot of fun and you learn quite a lot.
So it's just poop and hay and compost?
Grass and
And it
grass
dries-
leaves.
You dry it first and then you build, or you build
No,
it
it's-
and we let it dry?
Yeah, you have layers, right? So you have like your leaf material, right? Your dried leaves and grass and whatnot. So that would be your brown layer, and then you have a nitrogen fixing layer. So a green layer we use water hyacinth, right? Which we put in a layer. So you do it's like an 8-layer cake. So you do 1 layer of brown dead leaves and grass and whatnot. Then you do a layer
To
of
build the walls?
no. Oh, sorry, you were talking about mud bricks. I was talking about compost piles.
I'm talking about like how to build it, how to build a house.
Oh,
Or do you actually just do the bricks, or do you actually?
In this course, we didn't build a house. We just made the because it's that.
So it's just brick making?
Yeah. You only have like a half a day to make bricks. So you spend time in the mud pit, making the mud, and then going back and making bricks, just so you know how it works. But there's not enough time, to
So I have
actually.
to dry in the sun.
Yeah, they did to dry in the sun, so you don't have time to build a structure. But there are courses like, for example, Pan. They have next month they have a 30-day mud adobe house building course where you would actually build make the bricks and then actually build the structure. So you would learn how to do that.
Thank you very much. Let's give
Yeah.
Dennis a round of applause.
I was going to give him a question.
Wait, but before the question, let me make some short announcements. So, Happy New Year in advance.
Merry
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and what's the other one? Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa. So we have
Feliz Navidad.
in January we have a few things. We have a speaker from Price Waterhouse. Rosalind is a friend of mine. She's coming to talk about Action 2020, which sounds very interesting. I think it's something to do with maybe related to the development goals and the World Business Council on Sustainable Development. And she's been working in Geneva and London for the past half year, and so she really wants to share her experience with us, so that's very exciting. And we also have the masterclass sustainability workshop coming up in January. It's a 5-day intensive course with Robert, with all the big celebrities, Robert Steele, Alan Atkinson, and Axel Klimek. And they'll be here for 5 days max. You should do it. Dennis is still thinking about it during it here.
I did it in 2009 in Stockholm. It's worth the effort.
Yeah, I love it.
Wow.
I just did it in February, so they're coming here. And so we're thinking that instead of organizing a trip that we do every month for Net Impact, we will change the trip because we're going to be very busy to a lunch with Alan and Robert and Axel instead. But we'll talk today to them first and see what we're going to do. So there will be no trip in January, but we have a trip planned for February already to Ampon Foods factory. So it will be really interesting. I think we're going to visit their research and research and development center. So I hope that you can join us, Kat. So thank you very much for coming, Kat. And then hear all the questions now. Yes, thank you, Kat.